Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my channel. This is Farm Sim 19. Some things have changed. I've done tutorials in the past on forage harvesting, but I was kind of going through one of them. I had somebody ask on my channel the other day, you know, what is this device? I bought a harvester and I can't put any regular headers on it. And he left the model number, and before I even answered, I got in my head, I'm like, you know what, I bet you he's talking about one of the forage harvesters. And so I looked up the model number, and sure enough, he was talking about the Silage forage harvester. And the reason why it doesn't connect a normal header is because it is not a normal harvester. It is what's called a forager or a chopper. And so we're going to talk tonight about what a forager is. If you're new to farming and new to this farm sim game thing, you're wondering, what the heck are these harvesters? They work very differently than the other ones, and why? What are you supposed to do with these? And so I'm going to kind of help you tonight figure that out. So what we have here is the New Holland Forage Cruiser. We also have, if you download some of the mods, there's one from Klaas that came with the Klaas pack. There's two from Klaas, actually. You have, there's a John Deere one you can download from the Mod Hub. There's a couple Krone models that you can download from Mod Hub. And the game comes with 3 by default. And they're here under the Forage Harvesters. You have the Silage and the Big X 1180, which are, you know, 2 other forage harvesters if you don't want to go with the New Holland brand. And they all have high horsepower, and they are all choppers. So what does a chopper do versus a regular harvester? Well, a chopper is designed to create what's called chaff. And that chaff is then taken to either the biogas plant or to a silo, a ground silo near your cows, and you put that chaff into the silo and run it over a bunch of times with a tractor. Same thing at the biogas plant. And then you cover it up overnight. And now in real life it takes a couple months, but in the game it's like 24 hours. And by the next day you'll pull the cover off and you have this brown, disgusting, stinky silage, which is basically rotted corn, grass, that type of material. And you then can either feed it into the biogas plant and make money and also fertilizer, or you can use it as a very delectable treat for your cows. And when you take silage and hay and straw and mix it together, you get what's called TMR, which is, it gives your cows 100% milk. So foraging is important when you have a lot of cattle, or you want to play this game and use the biogas plant facility. So you guys have played this game, you're new to it, but you have seen on the map, I'm sure, you guys have seen this BGA or biogas plant, and you're like, what the heck is that thing? Well, basically you're going to grow corn, you're going to chop the corn up and not harvest it, but you're actually going to chop it up and put it into the silos, and then feed what that material, when it's done fermenting, you feed it into the biogas machine. You make a whole bunch of money, and you get free fertilizer for the next crop. So that is what a forage harvester is. We're going to put this to use. There's several different headers that it comes with that you can use for different types of crops. So I'm going to kind of show you how this thing works and how you're going to make it function. So once again, it's a high horsepower harvester. You'll notice, unlike regular harvesters, this unit does not have, and none of the forage harvesters have, any kind of hopper. They don't collect any grain. There's no, you know, wheat or grain or seed that they're going to collect that you can put into a tipper. The sole purpose of this guy is to destroy the crop and turn it into chopped up biomass, is what they call it. So the headers that we have are varied. The first one is a mower. So yes, you can actually use a forage harvester as a giant lawnmower. You attach a tipper onto the back and it will collect that grass. You can then either sell the grass, or you can take it down to the biogas plant, and you have to use the force dump command, which is on the Xbox controller, and I think on the PlayStation controller, it's both bumpers and the top button. On the Xbox controller, it's Y. I'm not sure what it is on the PlayStation, but if you're using an Xbox controller, it's basically force dump. I think on the computer, it's Control I. And what that'll do is that'll force that grass to dump into the silo, and I'll show you all that as we go, so don't worry. You're going to get to see it happening, so you're not like, what is he talking about? I'll show you. All right, so let's go ahead and, so this guy's the mower. This guy is our corn chopper. So this unfolds, and you use this to chop down corn. Now, the cool thing is, when you harvest corn, you only have to let it grow to the third stage. It doesn't have to turn brown. As long as it's in that final tall stage where it's still green, you can chop it down and you get full biomass. Actually, most, I think, foragers, guys that do foraging, do it when it's green. They don't want to wait till it's dried out. You want that wetness because the wetness will cause it to ferment well. So you want the corn to be wet. The third header that we have for it is called a 4-up or an up pickup unit. And what this does is if you've mowed grass and rode it into a windrow or hay, you can use this device to pick up both grass and hay and turn it into chaff. So you will end up creating the same thing that you do with corn. The best method, honestly, if you want to get a lot of biomass, corn is the best way to go. If you want a lot of free biomass, you plant a giant field with grass and you mow it. Now, this mower can also mow wheat, canola, oats, and barley, but maybe even soybean. I don't know. Let's check in the menu here real quick and see what else it mows. And I'm telling you this, but I would not recommend that you do that because you're better off just growing grass because grass grows back for free. So, you're just here there. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, it's all these crops. And some of these crops are crops that are from this specific map, but any kind of grain crop it'll mow. That's the idea. It looks like it even mows hops. But I would just be careful. Once again, use this for grass. Please do me a favor. Don't mow wheat fields with this because you're just wasting product. You're way better off. If you're going to grow something to mow it down, do corn. The only time I would use this to mow down like wheat or barley is if you really just want to get rid of the crop and you don't have a harvester. You're way better off using a regular harvester and getting the grain and selling it than you are just chopping it for chaff. That's total waste. But grass, that's another story because grass grows for free. So if you have purchased a big grass field like the one next to my dealership over here, we got this giant grass field and it grows every other day for free. You could just mow this, drop that off at the biogas plant, and then your cow shed, and start fermenting that, and then 2 days later come back and do it all over again, and you don't have to do any planting or any fertilizing or anything. You just get free material. So that header is good for that. But if you want serious biomass, corn is still the best way to go. Now, I wanted to show you this too. The game does come with a Pottinger tractor-mounted one. Now, where I live in Ohio, we see this kind of stuff more often. We don't see the big forage harvesters. But basically, you'd attach a trailer to the back of the tractor and this unit to the front. And this only chops down corn. But you use this to chop the corn, and it'll take the chaff and put it into the trailer on the back of the tractor. Be aware that you do need like a 300-plus horsepower tractor to operate this thing. I know it says like 150 horsepower, but if you put this on a small tractor, it's just going to keep flipping the tractor over. You're never going to get anywhere. You need to have a beefy tractor. Like the T7's a perfect tractor for this device. So now let's go ahead and grab a tipper, and we're going to go ahead and put this to use. Now, if you go into your tipper menu, and this is another thing that's a little bit different, you'll notice that there are some of these weird tippers that only take certain materials. We got this guy here. Where else? I think that's the first one. Yep. We have this guy here. The Annaberger. We have this Krone device. I'm just going to grab the smaller one and from Schlutmacher. And this is what is called a chaff wagon or a loose materials wagon. It doesn't carry grain. It doesn't carry, like other like harvestable things, but it carries grasses and straw and any kind of loose material, including chaff and silage. So these are really designed for what we're doing. I'm going to put some big wheels on there and pick this guy up. Now, in real life, you would run a tractor alongside, but because in this game I'm by myself and the hired workers aren't so great, we're going to do this. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to mow and show you how that works. And then we'll go dump the grass off at the biogas plant so you can see that process. But what we're going to do is when we mow, we get grass, all right? We're not going to get chaff. We're going to get grass. What's this? We're going to hook it up to our trailer. And once again, we have to use tippers. That's right. So here's a problem. Even though this trailer is designed for what we want to do, this is a powered trailer. It has a PTO, and you'll notice we do not have a PTO on our forage harvester. Now, they've fixed that since 17. In Farm Sim 17, you used to actually be able to hook the forage harvesters up to that, which is not realistic, but they let you do it. So instead, what we're going to do is we're just going to grab a big old regular trailer. And we need one that has, you need to have a loose hitch trailer. So the largest one we have right now, unfortunately, is our HKD 302. The other thing you do is just have a friend join you while you play and run alongside. And do it that way. But you can also, if you want to save time and not be doing a lot of driving back and forth, you can hook 2 of those trailers up together, and this forager will dump into both of those trailers. But you can see here, there's kind of a limitation here on what you can do. So once again, this is the only tipper that comes in-game stock that'll work with this forager. That's a little bit irritating, but that's how they have it set up now. So, and they do change that between versions, so you really have to watch. The forage harvesters in 7 and 19 are much more limited than they were in 15, but that's because they're going for realism. So, all right, so we're going to go ahead and put the pipe out. Nope. Get the harvester pipe out. No. Nope. Come on. Hold on. It's been a while. How do I select? Yeah, that's not what I wanted to do. Okay. Nope. Pipe out. There we go. I meant to do that. I aimed perfectly. All right, so you can see here it's just dumping the grass in the back. So we have a giant lawnmower that very quickly collects grass. It's the world's most expensive lawnmower, but if you want to feed your cows quickly, this is the way to do it. So I'm just going to run this. We might as well fill it up so you can see what the chaff does, because just because. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this up, and I will catch you guys in just a moment. Now, doing this always irks me, because this is really the only way you can do it unless you have multiplayer going on. But in real life, I've only ever once seen a video. There was a weird video of these French forage harvesters foraging not grass, they were chopping up corn, but they were pulling their own tippers. It's really hard to find video of that happening because it does not happen very often. Most of these guys have a team of tractors that run alongside. So even if they're mowing the grass, you'd have somebody pulling a trailer alongside you, and they wouldn't be using a tipper. They would be using the kind of trailer that I showed you over there, the loose materials trailer. They do not use these for grass mowing. So there you go. Now you be careful, because even though you are full up, it will keep mowing until you realize that it's full, and you'll have wasted all your grass. So we're going to run this over to the cow farm. And I'm going to put this in here and show you how to make silage real quick. It's pretty easy to do. But we'll keep adding to that pile. But I'm going to get this over here and get ready for the next step. So I will be right back. Okay, I realized that the biogas facility was the nearest silo. And these are called silos here, what we're looking at right in front of us. So for those of you that haven't been to the biogas facility, right there is where you get your free fertilizer once you've made a bunch of biogas. Here's where you dump the materials, and once again, I need to buy. You have to buy it in this version of the game, so we're going to go ahead and buy this. I got lots of money, but if you don't, it's a bit of a pain. It's an investment. So we're going to buy this BGA. No, I want this. Oh, wow, you can buy them separately. Well, I'm going to buy it all. That's cool, though, that they did that. It's the first time I've seen that on the map. So expensive, but here we have our $500,000 biogas plant. So what you do is you make your silage here, and you'll see how I do it. And then you just, when it's done fermenting, you scoop it into here, and you get paid. So, and then while that's being processed, you get, this fills up with digestate, which is free fertilizer. You use the slurry spreaders to spread it. Hopefully that helps you guys. I know it's a lot of information. So what we're going to do is, you can see the grass is magically turning into chaff as we unload it in here. Now that's not realistic, but that's what we have to work with. And so we're just going to dump that in here, and we're going to come back in a minute with another load from another source of material. So we will be back. I'm going to take this tractor back over to our New Holland forager and get it hooked up to the next header, and I'll show you the 4-up or the pickup unit. So we'll do that next. See you in a minute. So while we're setting this up, I'm going to tell you I have a conundrum. Why on earth would you go to a grass field and windrow it, like mow it and then windrow it, or ted it and then windrow it, and then use one of these pickup units to collect it? I don't know why you would do that. Isn't it way easier just to mow it? Now, I've heard people say that maybe they get more of a yield from this device. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, why on earth you would do this as opposed to why you would use this unit as opposed to just mowing the dang grass with that unit. I don't get it, but you know, I guess whatever. Now, you can also mow using that mower, alfalfa and all that kind of stuff. So if you have a map that has alternate crops on it that weren't like in the game crops, you can use that to mow. So that's good news. So here we have some hay, and we're going to pick up this hay, and now you can see instead of grass, it's turning into chaff. So that's cool. Now, I don't know if you pick up grass the same way. I think the grass might turn into grass. So you can't mix them. It's probably going to be just one or the other. Now, I will say this is a little faster because you just run down the field. But once again, why wouldn't you just use the mower? Why would you mow and windrow this and then use this? Why wouldn't you just mow it? So I don't really necessarily understand why. Except for maybe less trips with the harvester because, you know, the hay's all compacted into one line. I don't know. If you're a farmer and you can tell me why you would use one of these pickup units instead of using a mower, please leave your answer in the comments, because I don't understand why you would do this. And I'm not a farmer, so I don't know the differences between this or just direct mowing using the X disc. Because, you know, this doesn't necessarily make sense to me. Now, you can see here, though, we are collecting it really fast. So maybe that's the fact that the material's all compacted into one small line and you don't have to drive back and forth as much, maybe? I don't know. But that did fill up pretty quick, so actually that's kind of a positive thing there. So maybe that's why they do it. Now, once again, you got to stop. Make sure you physically stop, or it'll keep harvesting the stuff and you'll just lose it. So I don't know. It confuses me why anyone would want to do it differently. So just mow it. But I guess maybe there's a way to do this, or maybe people want to do it for more realism. I don't know. I don't know the reason. But there you go. So that is the 4-up, and it worked really quickly. So we got a very quick demonstration of how it works. The next up is going to be the corn header, and that is going to be what you typically see these machines doing, like I said, in general. Now, I have seen lots of video of them using these 4-ups also, though. I don't know that I've ever seen a video of them using the X disc, which is the mower. But I have seen a lot of videos using this and a lot of videos using the corn header. And I think that's really what the chopper is for the corn. You know, I mean, that really is their primary purpose. Now, once again, the reason why corn is a favored material in real life over other types of crops, and grass is okay too, but corn has a lot of sugar in it. Okay, now that's why, you know, nowadays when we eat, we have a lot of foods that have corn syrup. You know, it's like you got any kind of sweet food, pop, that kind of stuff. It all is made of corn syrup, and the reason being is because corn is actually sweet. It has a lot of sugar in it. Now, when you want to ferment something to make silage, you want it to have sugars, because sugars cause fermentation. So just like how grapes, when they smash them up and you get they put them in those wine vats, the grape juice will ferment because of all the sugar. The same idea goes for whole cropping. When you're chopping a crop down and chopping it up into bits to use it for silage, you want it to ferment. So corn is a really good candidate because corn is very sugary. A lot of grass has sugar in it too. And actually, I don't know if you guys know this or not, something I didn't know until I met my wife. My wife is big into horses. And the horses actually have trouble with the grass. They will eat a lot of grass because it has a lot of sugar in it. It'll actually give them problems in their hooves and their legs. I think they call it I forget what they call it. It's like limey or lammy or something like that. But anyway, there's some issue that they have with their legs or their hooves that can actually kill them, and it's because of the sugars in the grass that it's bad for them. I'll have to look that one up. I can't remember what it's called, but it is a real thing, and it's a horsey disease, and it comes from eating the grass. So materials that have a lot of sugar in them are good candidates for doing silage. So keep that in mind. But that's why corn and grass work well. So, all right, I'm going to head back to the main building, and we're going to pick up the forage harvester again. This time we're going to do corn. We're going to take a tractor with us because we want to hire a worker, and we're going to follow along, and I'll show you how they really do this in real life. So I'll be back. I thought you guys would like to see this unfold. It's like watching a locust. Pretty sweet. These are some of the most animal lobster-looking vehicles in the whole game. It doesn't look like some kind of like crab or lobster or scorpion. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to hire a worker here, and this is not going to work well because we're going to have to really run the tractor right up under his butt, and the guy is going to get lost at the end of the field. But what can you do? So I'm going to hire a worker, and they're going to sit there because we need to go get the tractor. So I'm going to go grab the tractor. Unfortunately, I didn't have follow me loaded, so I'm going to have to drive this all the way down, but I realized that it's the other road that I want, so at least that's good. I'm going to go around the block the other way, so I'll be right back. All right, so we are on final approach here. We're going to swing in under Whiskey Tango's pipe here. She's going to, our pilot's going, oh wait, we need to, hold on there, lady. Lady in New Holland. 6 miles an hour, second 6 mile notch. If you're going too fast, drop it down to the first 6 mile an hour notch. And use the cruise control. And there we go. And so that is how you forage corn. We're going to go ahead and fill this up, and then I'll show you how to make the silage once we're done. But we are, chopping corn, and that is what these devices are for. Once again, that has no internal storage, so don't bother running it unless you have a tipper attached. It's not a normal harvester, and that's, a lot of people get confused when they first start doing this. So this is what this is for. The funny thing is I find myself in the game, honestly, not using these very often because they're so expensive, and I almost never get my farm to the point where it's worth using. And one of the things that you can do if you're not, actually, even if you are using the VGA, unrealistically, you can just wrap bales using a bale wrapper and sell them that way. It's a little bit easier, and it costs a lot less. So that's the way we get around it a lot of times when we play the game. If we're feeding our cows, we use the X wrapper or just a bale wrapper because that also makes silage. This is a very difficult and expensive way to make silage, but this makes a lot more silage. I don't want to say more quickly, but it does make it more quickly. Okay, so she's going to get lost here, I think. She actually did pretty good. I'm impressed. And she's going to back right over all my corn. That's not so impressive. I wonder if I can run this thing at 6 miles an hour backwards. I guess I'm just going to run the corn over too. Now, if I run it over, it's damaged, but whatever. I mean, what are we going to do? We have to turn around, so. And she's got that spigot as far forward as it's going to turn. All right, toots. Let's hit it. Hit it. We're doing the corn. Hustle. Sorry. Yes, I gave up my rap career to make YouTube videos for farms. I used to be part of Run DMC. It used to be Run DCA, DCMA. Just kidding. Sorry. Bad jokes. All right. So anyway, this is the forage harvester. We're almost full. And then we just kind of rinse and repeat. Now, in real life, big farm that could afford this kind of equipment would have multiple tractors. I've seen them run as many as 8 or 9 tractors with these tippers, and they all run back and forth either to the biogas plant or to their cow farm. Why is she stopping like that? What are you doing? What you doing? Lady. Back they will do like just a continuous line of forage wagons, so that the forager just keeps going and going and going and going. So if you have 2 or 3 players playing with you, you can have, you know, one guy run into the biogas plant while the other 2 are following behind you to unload the harvester, and that is how it works in real life. So you've just seen a semi-prototypical operation there. Semi-prototypical. I get yelled at for using the word prototypical. It means how it was originally meant to happen is really what it means, but I get yelled at because some people say that's not the way you're supposed to use it, but it actually kind of is. It's weird. It's a term that got really popular with model railroading. So if you have a model railroad that is quote-unquote prototypical operation, it means that it's running all the equipment that the real railroad would have run. If you get in there and you throw in, Wisconsin train cars on a Union Pacific, train with a Union Pacific train engine, that would not be prototypical because Union Pacific didn't run Wisconsin Central cars. They ran Union Pacific cars, and that's non-prototypical. Anyway, so that was when I say those words, it's not because I'm smart. It's because I grew up a model railroad, and they use that word a lot. Anyway, so we are going to dump this off now, so you guys can see that process again, and then we will cover up the silage. We'll pretend like we're done. Now, I would recommend this: do not. You can keep compacting the silage all day long, but don't cover it until you're completely done. Obviously, once you cover it, you got to wait 24 hours before you can put any more material in. It's not like you can add more stuff to it. It's once it's covered, it's fermenting until it's done. So go back and forth, get the entire field done, and then cover it. If it starts to get hard to drive over, take a break, and I'll show you what you got to do. You're going to drive back and forth over this pile. The bigger the vehicle, the faster it goes. But we're going to show our F1 help menu. And you're going to see when I drive onto these piles, you can see there's a big bad pile right there. It says compacting 15%. Well, we can't do anything with that. But if we run back and forth over, you can see now it's at 17, 18. We'll go back and forth. You can see it smoothing out as I'm doing this, right? You got to keep doing this until you get a nice flat surface. And that will make it to 100%. So you don't have to run over the real big bumps, but you can see if you keep going over them, eventually they will flatten out. You see it's starting to flatten out there as I run over it. In real life, they do this. They have rollers that they attach to the tractor. Sometimes they use like big equipment like front loaders to smush it down. I don't think I've ever seen like a bulldozer though, because I think you have to have the rubber wheels. I think that if you use like metal tracks or something, it damages the chaff and it becomes unusable at that point. But I've seen, big tractors with big wheels doing this, and also big cement rollers. They actually make specific silage rollers. So I'm going to keep doing this till we're at 100%. I'll be back. And we're almost done. 98, 99, 100. The more chaff you get, the longer that takes. So now we'll back the tractor off the pile because we're at 100%. And if I get onto here, it's going to say blanket silo, left button. Boom. So now in 24 hours, see how it says fermenting silage? That'll say 100%. And then you can start to uncover this and scoop the brown silage, that it looks just like this brown stuff that's in here, into this bin, and you'll start to make money. Or you can use it to feed your cows. Now, I would recommend using the silos that are at the cow facility rather than putting it here, but whatever you want to do. Because you have to buy these silos, that's kind of annoying, but anyway. That's the process of making silage. So that is what a forage harvester is for. That's the whole point of this device. And it is designed to chop and make chaff so that you can make forage. Hopefully you guys found this video helpful, and hopefully it was something that you can take with you as you go play Farming Simulator 19. Have a great night. Be sure to subscribe. Thumbs up always help. And I'll see you guys on the farm. Have a great night. Bye.